Because tonight.
Wow.
Ah! Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and now we're going to talk about it in the parking structure, in Matt's on the pilot. I'm in the front seat, Tim's in the back seat. Matt, of course, is in the driver's seat because it's his car. And we're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie, should you not see this movie? Should you wait for it for streaming? Do you need to see it in theaters to get all the big special effects? Should you bring a date? Can you bring a kid? Should you go alone? We're going to try to touch on all that. Maybe some more, maybe some less. You know, we like to find the sweet spot and just go for it. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy. And yes, welcome to another episode. We saw a movie. Now we'll talk about it. This movie is called Bad Boys Ride or Die. Ride or die.
Ride or die.
Ride or die. Yeah, so this is the latest installment in the Bad Boys series, which now has 4 films.
And a TV spin-off that didn't go anywhere.
Okay. Wasn't aware of that. Thank you, Tim. And speaking of Tim, who's in this movie that we know?
Well, we of course have our returning bad boys themselves, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, who've been playing these since, what was it, 95 was the first one?
Something like that.
And then we have actually a lot of the returning actors from the most recent one, which was Bad Boys for Life a couple of years ago.
For life.
That includes Vanessa Hudgens, famous for mostly her Disney High School Musical years, and so I think she was a singer for a while. I don't really want to know if any of the others are household names per se, but character actors. The other guy on the team, his name's Alexander Ludwig, but he's probably known for being he was in the first Hunger Games movie as one of the punky guys. And then also popping up in this is good old Owen Gruffudd, mostly known for being Reed Richards in the original 2 Fantastic Four movies from Marvel. And of course, Joe Pantoliano is in this. He's been the Captain Howard in all these movies, and people might also know him from The Matrix, first movie, or even The Fugitive. He was one of the main guy with Tommy Lee Jones' cop team. And then Tiffany Haddish shows up in this as well in a small part.
In a small little Tiffany part.
Yeah. And I would say that's it for as far as household names go, and even some of those are not so much.
Yes.
And these are the same directors of the most recent movie. And they seem to have taken over the franchise from Michael Bay, who shows up in this in a quick little cameo.
Also true.
He does. Okay, so what's Bad Boys Ride or Die all about? Well, Mike Lowry is back with his partner, whose name
Marcus Burnett.
Marcus Burnett, yes, thank you. Mike Lowry is what we hear all the time in these movies. It's oh dear. We've got a car alarm.
Riding or dying.
Man.
They're dying, not riding.
Power through.
All right, powering through. So our 2 cop friends here, they've been at this a while, since 1995, and in the last movie, the captain is killed, and we find out at the beginning of this movie that he was either a dirty police chief or he's being framed, and of course the bad boys believe that he's being framed, and they go on a quest mainly by themselves with some accomplices, including Mike Lowry's son, who they break out of prison, and they don't.
Well, that was the plan. But.
Something happens.
Something like that. Anyway, so they all go on an adventure and try to clear his name. They work their police skills. They solve a mystery, and we all end up in an abandoned amusement park with a huge albino alligator who plays a major role in the culmination of this film, which is, of course, a massive firefight at the amusement park, where all things are resolved.
And the only thing missing was the Scooby-Doo gag.
Yes. And so that is what I'll say about the plot itself. Todd, are you riding or are you dying with your gut reaction to this movie?
That's a hard one because I don't think this is a bad movie, but there's just really nothing special about this movie that you haven't seen already 3 times over, including the fact that, like, in this one we've got another kooky Marcus situation where he thinks he can't die, where if we go to the last one, he made a pact with God that he can't do violence anymore, so that makes for some interesting hilarity. And then in the second one, he was all in self-therapy and all the woo-saw stuff.
Yeah.
It is
They
just
find shticks.
the same movie for the 4th time. And and even though they're like, I didn't think it was bad, but everything was just like, doesn't mean it was great either. Like, nothing was like stellar about this movie. Like, it wasn't. They did some camera angle tricks and different stuff that made me feel like I want to puke at times. Like, but I get what they were going for. Just not a fan because it just didn't come off to me. Like, there's a scene where, like, the camera kind of flips and it's on Will Smith, and it flips on his gun and stuff like that, and like, it just looked. I mean, it looked like he was holding the camera, like, and you see his gun, but it's like it didn't look right to me. It looked real weird.
It seemed very video
gamey.
Yeah. And
Clearly going for that.
yeah, I just, like, I guess props for trying to do something somewhat innovative. They've done this kind of loopy stuff around in previous movies of the Bad Boys. There's a lot of shooting and circling
Drone
in these
shots,
movies. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't have anything like exceptionally bad to say about this movie, but I don't really have anything exceptionally good to say about it. Is this the first movie of Will Smith's that we've reviewed since The Slap?
Oh,
Most likely.
yeah.
Yeah, because
He
the
hasn't been doing
only
much.
thing came out was Emancipation, but that was an Apple's.
Oh no,
movies.
King Richard. You saw King Richard.
Was that post slap or pre slap?
Oh no, he won for King Richard.
Yes, okay.
That's right.
All right,
Right.
so yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. That was interesting to see Will Smith pop up. I don't.
There was one part in this movie where I thought about him slapping the guy
Chris
because
Rock.
of how he was coming after someone in this movie, and I was like, oh, is he gonna slap him?
And now you just never know.
Yeah.
And,
He's the
there
ultimate
was a
wild
key
card
scene,
now.
There was a key scene where Will Smith gets slapped 3 times in a row by
That is
Martin's
true.
character.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we're even Stevens now, Will, huh?
Yes.
So
anyway.
I would say the only reason to see this movie is if you've seen the rest and you're like, this is my niche. I like these movies. I'm gonna go see it. But I don't know. It's not gonna be not worth your money, but you're not getting complete bang for your buck. I'm somewhere right in the middle. Audience, decide for yourself on this one. I can't tell you what to do.
Todd's out of here.
I'm so in the middle.
So Todd,
Like, for a movie that I didn't like, I also wasn't looking at my watch the whole time going, like, when is this over? I was like, I really am just, like, even keel. Like, I'm over it, but okay, I saw it. Like, I'm just like, it's there.
I feel like Todd, you're more leisurely drive or relax.
Yeah, I'm like, it was never going to be anything special to me because it's all the same people doing the same stuff, and I feel like while that has been happening for years, maybe we're just in a specific time where the burnout of that is very, very real. Like the last Fast movie wasn't that good. Like, it's just the same old, same old. That's my review. Although, one bad thing I'll say is that the story of this movie is incredibly paint by numbers. So very paint by numbers. You know who the bad guy is.
You can call it
As
pretty
soon
well.
as they're introduced, you're like, that's the bad guy. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Tim?
So I think I'm gonna land in a more positive place than you. I'll admit you guys have had the years between probably since you saw Bad Boys for Life. I watched it in the most recent week because I did not see it when it came out. So to me, everything was fresher. I prefer this movie to Bad Boys for Life. I feel like it built on For Life with this new crew kind of that they're with now, and this new chemistry with the new younger team and the lady cop in charge. And I felt like they gelled better in this one. And Will and Martin, they do their thing. You can rely on them. They get their shtick in. They do their silly back and forth. And Martin commits fully to the silliness, while Will's always the straight man to it. That's all fine. If you like that, it's more of that as usual. I would actually say they dialed it up more of the goofiness in this one, which is more what I expect from the Bad Boys franchise. Did all the silliness land? No. It's just it's the usual shtick where some of it's corny but it's meant to be. I thought the action scenes in this one, these directors were definitely trying to put more of a stamp on their style versus the Michael Bay style. The first movie was a lot of homage shots, I thought, to Michael Bay, with the sweeping around them, standing up, and the stuff that Michael Bay used to do. And this one was more like, here's our style of directing, and it worked for me. That scene that you were talking about with the drones moving around, and then Will. The gun on Will's gun, the camera there. I thought that made that final sequence pretty cool. It's not John Wick level. It's not, reinventing anything, but for Bad Boys, it felt a little bit fresher. And trying to modernize the style, at least for these directors. If this is going to be their thing, if they're going to make another one, which I have not heard. All the cast does what they're supposed to do. They're fine, but like you said, you can see the twists coming a mile away. This movie's not trying to be anything new in that regard, and that's fine. But I don't think people are coming for that. People are coming for the action and the witty banter. And for me, this one delivered a bit better than For Life while building off of it. So do you need to see For Life to this one? No, I think they refer to enough where you don't. But the chemistry's there from these actors returning for a second movie, and I would be okay going to a third round. I enjoyed this enough that. I do think we're reaching the limit on how to bring Captain Howard back, though. As much as I like that actor, he doesn't need to be brought back.
You heard it here. The next movie, Bad Boys, Tim's request.
Yes. But I'd be fine with going down this.
Tim chose Ride.
I would choose to ride with the Bad Boys one more time after this one, because after For Life, I was like, I'm good. And when I saw the trailer for this, I thought, we're stretching. But I actually will admit I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. So that's where I
If the Bad Boys were pulling up in front of me and it was like, do you want to ride with us? I think I would be that exact Larry David meme where he's just like, sure.
Yeah.
So, Matt?
But,
Well, I think I've had enough of the Bad Boys.
you're on more on the die phase.
I'm more on the die phase.
That's all right.
I
expect that.
Yes, I get if you like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence bantering, then for sure watch this movie.
Yeah, this one had more of it.
I don't really like it anymore. I felt like the jokes were tired and didn't really land well. And overall, I agree with you, Todd, that the story was very paint by numbers, and you could see a lot of things coming from a long way away. I will highlight two things that I did like in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was there's a particular fight scene that takes place. It's not a long fight scene, but I enjoyed it. Inside of a glass elevator, and they did some interesting things.
Yes, that was
camera
also
work
great.
there.
I thought that was really cool. I agree with you.
Yeah,
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
That was cool. I liked that, and I did like Tiffany Haddish's scene. That made me smile a little bit.
The movie needed a little more of that kind of flash of character, I thought.
Yeah. They could have had some more sparkling gems thrown in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but overall, this movie was okay, but pretty meh to me.
Yeah.
And I don't, like Todd said, if you saw all these, sure, see them. Like I said, if you like the banter between these two guys,
right there.
for sure, go for it. Otherwise, you can probably skip this one. And that's where I'm gonna end up.
Mm-hmm. I have to ask a question.
Go for it.
Ask
Because
it.
I don't know, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but is Martin Lawrence okay in life? I felt like he struggled through lines at times and was slurring and was just not. I thought Will was pretty crisp.
Will's Will.
And I'm not saying it was that he did bad.
No.
But I was just it just seemed like he was struggling a lot more through doing almost anything. Anytime he had to run, Anytime he had to do anything fast or anything
Physical.
like that. And then every once in a while you get him in the middle of talking, and I'm like, are you slurring? Like, what's happening? I know he's had some health problems. I guess no one knows.
No, I don't think.
Audience, if you know,
they
let me
haven't
know.
been upfront about
Drop
it.
me a line. But
I haven't seen any of the press tours to see if they're acting any different.
now that the big question's out of the way, we got to ask some more questions
Yes.
of
Yes,
us.
Todd.
We got to search our souls
Yes.
and figure out
Mhm.
how many. It's got to be albino alligators
Yeah.
because
Yes.
that's just all I was stuck on. But what's the alligator's name again? Was it Bruce? Duke. Dookie. Yeah,
Dookie.
Duke.
Yes.
So how many Dukes would you give this little ditty? 0 being the worst, because then you got no Dukes, no attractions, no nothing, and your
No
music
reason to
park
go to
is
this.
sad.
No reason to go to this amusement.
Yeah. 5 being the best, because then you got 5 Dukes. That's 5 albino alligators, and I'm sure that's a fun time as long as you don't get eaten. If you're just on your guard, I'm sure you're all right.
Yeah.
Matt?
Well, I'm going to give it 2 albino alligators out of 5. Like I said, this one didn't really land with me. Wasn't the worst movie, but I thought it was kind of below average, and that's what I'll say about that.
Tim?
Yeah, like I said, I'm in a more positive place on this movie. I do recommend seeing it, mostly again for the people who are going to see it anyway. So it's not like I'm probably going to sway your opinion or anything. But like I said, if these movies are in your wheelhouse, it's more of that. So I'm just under a 3. I'm at 2.8.
2.8. I mean, just to keep with where I'm at and what I've been saying this whole time, I'm at like a 2.5. Like
Right in the middle.
right in the middle. It is what it is. Do I regret seeing this movie? Not really, but do I think this was the best use of my time? I don't know. Fate will decide that. Time will tell.
There you go. It's your gut reaction, doesn't
It's
it?
my gut reaction. My gut's super neutral right now.
Yeah.
Super neutral. Well, we had a ride, we had a die, and we had a
Some bad boys?
The only thing my gut's telling me is maybe.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, any last thoughts before we wrap up?
Are we ready to forgive Will Smith for slapping Chris Rock on a personal level? Are we ready to do that? Do you feel like he's at any point atoned or have tried to atone for anything that he's done?
I mean, he did issue an apology.
I agree. I felt his apology was a little all about him, but you know,
Okay.
I think that's what you get with Hollywood actors, especially the Scientology ones.
yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know how. I don't know how you would spin an apology and it not come off weird or anything like
Especially
that.
after
Right.
what happened, yeah. I've always been a Will Smith fan. I still love The Fresh Prince. I've enjoyed most of his movies, at least during his mega run. So I fall on the I'm good with Will.
Okay, Matt.
I'm good with Will.
Good with Will. So I don't know where I'm at with Will.
That's fine.
Much
you know,
like your
I
feelings
think,
about this movie.
I think my feelings are, while I wasn't a fan of the slap,
No,
my
I
biggest
wasn't.
problem with Will Smith has always been he married Jada Pinkett Smith, or he married Jada Pinkett. She wasn't Jada
Right.
Pinkett.
Right.
But I don't think she's good for him. I judge their marriage on the outside from the little I see.
Oh, I do too.
Whatever.
I don't think that that doesn't change how I feel about it. Like,
Yeah.
The movies
In
he
the
does.
episodes I've seen of the Red Table Talk, I think she's a ridiculous person, and I'm like, don't put your stuff out there if you don't want to get judged like that.
But that's what a lot of celebrities.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the newest trend of like celebrities are just
This
like
is-
you.
yeah,
Let's all
look at
talk
all my
about the blah blah
problems.
blah.
Mhm.
Except for they have a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot more money.
Except for they're stealing all my Manjaro, which I need
Right.
for my blood sugar. Thanks, celebrities.
Yeah. Boo.
Uh,
Oh.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
Second.
I guess they
second
don't want
one.
That car's with
they don't-
us.
They don't want the Manjaro
Yeah.
going away either.
They must be on Ozempic.
Well, now that we've tread this
Now that
territory,
we've ridden or died.
we've done what we can here, and so that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies. where we reviewed the movie Bad Boys Ride or Die, and we gave it an average rating of 2.43333 albino alligators
just under.
out of 5. It's slightly below average, and I think we were a little bit more die than we were ride this time. But, you know, we gave our caveats of who should see this movie. And I think you stick with that, you'll be all right.
2.5 dukes, but the half we got was the back half. Which
The
what
back
are you gonna
half,
do with
yeah,
that?
the tail.
Yeah.
Well, so thanks for listening to this podcast. Please continue to subscribe and download and listen. And we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.